So when we talk about multilingual writers, it's good just to back up a little bit and say a little bit about the context where these students are coming from. So often you'll hear people use terms like multilingual or second language or ESL or non-native interchangeably. So here when we're talking about multilingual writers, and at Mason in particular with the populations that we have, multilingual writers can be international students who are here on a visa that allows them to study in the United States for a set number of years. Many of them are sponsored students by governments and companies, so they're going back with expectations to prove that the money that the government spent for them to come here was worth their while, or that the company has spent to send them here. Often families pulling together as much money as they can in different accounts to make it look like to make it possible for these students to come. So it's a whole family event and support and pressure in return. So those students are coming sometimes to be in an intensive English program where they're exclusively studying English. Here that happens. It used to happen at the ELI, the English Language Institute. Now the ELI is part of academic English here in the Into Mason programs. So those students are intensive English program students. They're studying 20 hours a week in English and living in a U.S. context where English is being used in the greater environment. And then there are also students who are in undergraduate pathway programs where they are seeking degrees in undergraduate programs and getting language support as well. That happens at the graduate level as well. So graduate pathway program students. And then we also have other multilingual populations on campus. So we have domestic students who are from immigrant populations, some spouses, family of visiting diplomats in the area, children of diplomats, who maybe are going to U.S. high schools and coming to Mason, but they're not on the traditional visiting visa policy or type like the international students are. And then in the immigrant population itself, we have huge diversity, which is great. So we have students who grew up most of their lives in the United States, but went home and spoke a language other than English at home. And so they're sometimes referred to as Generation 1.5, where at home is language A and in school is language B, and that's the way it's always been. And then we have other populations, recent immigrants who have just come to the area within the past couple of years, who are not international students, but also multilingual students. And then we have students who just grew up speaking multiple languages, sometimes learning them at the same time. And so where they fall on the spectrum doesn't really matter. What matters is that their needs as language learners might be a little bit different than other populations of multilingual students. So sometimes we lump them all together, but actually they're very different. And the needs of those populations are very dramatically different based on how many years they've been in the U.S. and sort of what their prior experience is. The ways in which they learned English can change a lot of what's required and what they're looking to get from us.